So far, we've been trying to teach your kids simplification. So with the knowledge of negative numbers, we should be able to simplify something like this. So when you look at this, you've got negative 3y squared. So this is y squared. This is y squared. So with the knowledge of negative numbers, they should be able to simplify something like this. So here you've got negative 3. So you would start at negative 3, and then here you're adding 1. So you start at negative 3 and then you add 1. So you end up at negative 2. So here you have negative 2y squared. So with the knowledge of negative numbers, they should be able to simplify this. And then in the previous video, we looked at indices. So when you have x times x, it becomes x squared. And x is like one entity, y is another entity. Well, x squared is another one. And then x to the power 3 is a different entity. So this here could be your elephant, this here could be your giraffe, this here could be your hippo, this here could be your rhino, and so on. They're all different. So don't go merging them together. So with the knowledge of indices, they should be able to do something like this. So here they can see that this, they can merge with this. So with the knowledge of indices, they will understand something like this. They'll understand that this is like one entity, this here is like another entity, this here is another one, and this here is another one, and so on. But they do not yet understand what it means to have x, y, or what it means to have a, b. So what you've really got here is it's like you've got your whole space here. So if you have x squared, that's like a square, x squared. Or if you have a squared, that means a. So this square is different from this square. So x squared is like one entity, and then a squared is another entity. So you can't merge these two together. Suppose you have 3x squared plus 2a squared. Even though a squared is a square, this is also a square. They're two different sizes, so they're not exactly the same, so you can't go merging them together. So that's what's happening. But in the case of xy here, in the case of xy, rather than a square, you have a rectangle, so xy. So if you have another exact same rectangle, then so this length here is x, this length here is y. This rectangle is exactly the same as this. So if you have 3xy, and then add 2xy, then because this rectangle is exactly the same as this rectangle, then you can say you've got 5 of that exact same rectangle. But in the case of AB, you've got a length A, and this here is still a rectangle, but it's a different rectangle. So you can't go adding, let's say 3AB add 2xy. Even though this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle, you can't add them together because they're two different rectangles. So, but we're not going to, that's what's happening, but we're not going to use this to explain it to them. We're going to use a different technique, which I will explain in the next video. Okay?